Hello, everyone! Welcome to Code with Italians. It's been a year. It's been a fucking year. I don't believe it. Um,
Believe it,
I'm still in
Sebastiano, believe it.
shock at the notion that we've been doing this for a year at this point. But
Yes, we have a lot of
hello.
free time.
Hey. So you might think this hat is stupid, and I agree, but this hat got me free beers at a pub because the owner thought it was cool. So respect.
Nice, nice. Love it. So how's everybody doing? Are you happy? Are you excited? Today is gonna be one of those episodes where we wing it, but we also kinda
Wait,
somehow
wait. Are you implying we have episodes in which we're not winging it now?
that was my that, at some point is actually also a normal episode, some level. So I'm not that concerned about the outcome. So how's everybody doing in the chat? Yes,
Hello.
yes, yes. Oh man. Okay, Sebastiano. So today we have Mark with us. Ciao, Mark. How you doing?
Oh, I'm good, thank you. How are you two gents?
Tired. Very tired. It's been a difficult few days, but I have a hat, so I'm
I have
happy.
also.
I'm
I have
also a bit
also.
out of voice because I've been to Android Makers in Paris for the past few days, which is oh so topical for today's episode. I swear this was not planned in advance. It just happened to Bonnie's eating Seb. Yeah, it's kind of like Kirby. I think they also said they sold like a pink version. That would have been like Kirby on the car.
Not bad. Not bad. Very specific. Very specific. So what do we have today, Sebastiano? I think this is a special episode. So why is a special episode?
It's a special episode because we have been doing this for a year, because you folks have been staying with us for a year, which I'm very happy about. It's
I've
a
been trolling you for a year.
Yeah, that's also true. Like, how was my life without all this trolling more than like a year ago? It's like, how did it even
I
work? I
mean,
don't
it's like
remember. It's special because we have Mark with us, and every time Mark is with us is special. But today is a very meta episode with Mark. We're talking about public speaking, and this is kind of public speaking, I guess. So that's also, I think, our first meta episode. It's also special because we have drinks, which we normally don't.
booze.
We drink
Booze.
afterwards. Um, and it's also very special because we have some things that we have been working on for a while now that I am so excited about that we can finally launch. It's been a few months worth of work, and we've only been able to do this thanks to the people that are supporting us. That's your cue, Ivan.
Yes, yes. That was so subtle. I loved it. So the people people that support us, thank you again. And today I want to reiterate that there is a giveaway. So if you're following us on the chat, you already see the word that you can type in and join the giveaway. You are gonna get some pizza sticker as usual, and if you are a supporter, you also get the holo sticker that you cannot buy on the store. Our coffee store doesn't have the holo sticker, so that's only for you. You can support us in a couple of interesting way. One is completely free because Uncle Bezos pays for it, so that's always nice. So if you have an Amazon Prime subscription, you can subscribe for free to a Twitch channel every month. And plot twist, my wife that I dearly love just pointed me to a notification that she got this month for the first time ever on Twitch, reminding you that you can renew the subscription.
What? They finally done it?
They finally, I mean, we have the technology. And there was a very nice moment because there was like the SpaceX kind of rocket going to fucking
To the
space
moon!
and to the moon. And Francesca was like, "Oh, I got a notification so I can renew my subscription." I was like, yes, it's happening. We have the technology finally. So if you can support us with Prime, that's cool. Everything goes into our budget for our projects. We reached our second goal, and that allowed us to present the cool stuff that we are going to present later during the episode. A note on the sticker shop: we have a new sticker, the Spike sticker. Oh, look at this thing. Can you see the Spike sticker? The light is a bit weird, but you will see the Spike sticker, and you can buy it with the mix. What's there?
No, I have some as well. So
Okay,
I
and
should have.
bam, bam,
Oh,
bam.
thank you, Luca, for the gift. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Ah.
and ciao. And that's yes, and you can get them on the store. Also, of course, with the YOLO sticker and a bunch of other stuff. So just keep an eye there. New stickers are gonna drop. And what else? What else?
I mean,
We
there's
want
so
to
many things that we need to cover. But okay, so I'm gonna totally wing this because, of course, I am. But if you go to our merch store, you might notice that something slightly different than it used to be. So, as of today, if you follow the link in the chat, which is this way, it's so complicated. The chat is this way. Be past mark, just that way. So if you follow the link in the in the chat, my words are not working today. You will find out that we have a completely new merch provider. Why did we did that? Why did we do that? Yeah, the words are not gonna work today.
you can't English anymore, Sebastian.
Yeah, it's great because we're gonna just talk about public speaking. So what could possibly go wrong?
For 2 hours. Yeah, that's okay.
It's
you
okay.
need more beer, Seb.
Yeah, clearly, just one sip isn't enough. So we have a completely new merch store. We have new merch. The old merch is gone. It doesn't exist anymore. You cannot have it anymore. So if you bought it before, you have a limited edition.
So I'm wearing a limited edition.
Yeah, that's actually limited edition. True story.
But we have a new provider, and the reason why we have done that is that we were not very happy with the quality for the price that we were getting from the previous provider. It was good, but it wasn't great. So we found someone local. So now it's all made in Italy, which is great. We've found someone that has like a list of sustainable organic cotton t-shirts. And we have other things in the plants that are also made with sustainable materials. And it's also... Oh, thank you for the sub, Adam. Welcome. And it's also very much easier to work with someone that we can actually talk with. And they have some experience with producing swag for other streamers, but also some artists. So the platform that we're using now is called Space Neil. And they are amazing. And I cannot wait to see you folks using our swag around, our new t-shirts and everything. And the new designs are really cool. But you know what's the coolest thing is that we're going to give away 3 of them today. So you will be able to choose the t-shirt design, the size, and if you want unisex or woman's cut. And we're going to send it to you for free. This is a limited edition one-off thing that who knows if it's going to happen again, but we are going to do that. If you are a subscriber or a supporter on Coffee, then you are part of a special tier. So, of the 3 t-shirts, one is gonna go to the general public, and the other 2 are gonna go to one to a subscriber and one to a Coffee patron or supporter, or the other way around. I don't know. We'll figure it out because it's not like we discussed this before the stream. Ivan, you're welcome.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, whatever.
Hey, as I said,
who
I'm
said this
making it
was
up as I
a
go.
democracy? No. I mean, who said that this was a democracy, right? I mean, but it's still overrated. Democracies are overrated. Anyway.
So, yeah, we have a lot of cool things in our store that we designed with love. Oh, look at that. I would like to be in Spike's position right now.
Well,
oh, hi, Gyuri.
the
Thank
life,
you.
The life.
And welcome, Captinema. It's hard to read. Damn, I'm getting old. So now I think I've talked about our merch enough. Oh yeah, sorry. By the
Yes.
way, there was something else. Yes, we're soon going to have like we're getting new stickers. Like we are kind of running out because we've been giving a lot of those away. So
Yeah.
even if you don't get the sticker immediately, because I mean, I'm kind of hoping here that we manage to send a lot of t-shirts to people, and we want to give you some extra stickers with your t-shirts as well. But you can also buy stickers with your t-shirt. So you can, if you're buying a t-shirt, it is more convenient for you to get it together with your t-shirt. So you don't have to pay the extra shipping. The price is the same as on Coffee. But the difference is that you can get like faster shipping with express courier. And
we are also about the shipping.
Yes.
I want to point out that we are experimenting with. Damn it. No sé cómo be whatever. So I
An
can't do
attempt
this.
was
This is a
made.
serious moment. Give me a break. Okay. So the people that bought our stickers on the store, we are gonna try priority mail, international priority mail, to get you stickers at a quickly, or at least
Well, more
faster,
quickly, relatively
more.
speaking.
Yeah, that should be definitely quicker. There is like also a slight chance that we can track the package, so that's also good. But everything is going out later this week. So and that's it. So this is
But why are you
yes.
wearing this on a t-shirt? Is that by any chance one of the new t-shirts we have?
Oh, Sebastiano, thank you for pointing out. So if you like my very, very, very soft t-shirt, I mean, you can understand how
Are
love this
you
thing
touching
is.
your nipples?
No, it's not a nipple. It's my Y. I'm touching my Y here.
Okay.
So the print that we have for the YOLO t-shirt is like, I don't know how can you say it in English, velluto, like
Velvet.
velvet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's velvet. It's not actually plasticky kind of thing. It's very velvet, and it's
As I said,
nice.
we weren't too happy with the quality of the previous provider, so that's why we switched.
I'm just trying to work out if I'm touching my Y as a euphemism for something.
Yeah, now I was like, I'm touching my O, it's not working, and my L not even working. I don't know. It's my so I'm anyway.
I think we are the worst at promoting shit. We get
No, it's very
sidetracked
velvet.
so easily and make it incredibly awkward to everyone.
Very velvety. I mean, this is so nice.
Stop it!
Sure. Oh, by the way, we are professionals. So if anybody asks, we are professionals. I just want to put it out. And thank you, Ugo, for the music before the stream.
Yes,
so
that was amazing. That was super cool. In case you missed it, Hugo was so kind. He provided us with a DJ set just for us. stream for 1 hour before we started, which was very, very groovy. Okay, so enough with the waste of time and semi-erotic content.
Although I
No, there
should
was no
mention,
erotic content.
I said semi. You were
I should
still
also
dressed.
mention the reason that I redeemed the El Ivano Italian points was because there is an El Ivano T-shirt.
This was not arranged. I'm not doing promotion.
Yes, so if you check the store, there is a El Ivano T-shirt, and it was a nice present from Seb. We already, I mean, my wife loves it, and she's wearing it every now and then. It's a yellow T-shirt with my face on it, and it was brutally kind of you, Sebastiano. So thank you. Yeah.
Every single item, there's t-shirts, stickers. That's it.
Yeah,
There's different designs,
because
but
no spoil.
let's
No
yeah,
spoiler.
let's. So public speaking, how does that work, Mark?
Oh well, do we want to run a Slido for the questions, or we pick questions from the
Yes,
chat?
can you set that up?
It would be nice, right? Okay.
Yeah. Why didn't we
start
think about it before? It's almost as
because
if we finished setting up everything 10 seconds before going live.
And I'm tired. I'm
I
telling
know
you,
I have the
this
same
is
problem.
This is the only moment where I get energy out of my week. So give me. So
We
Mark,
set everything
please.
up 10 seconds before going live and then realized we had to get beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, then we started 2 minutes late because we needed to get the beers. Oops.
Oh.
But yeah, while you do the Slido, Ivan, so as you folks watching this might know, public speaking is something that everyone here has done in the past and keeps doing. Mark has been a speaker for a long time. Also, he does magic tricks, which is his specialty. I also do public speaking quite a lot, even also sometimes. I don't know now with a kid, but we're going to be in a conference in 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
That's a
by the
number
way,
between 2 and 3.
Yeah, we also have a discount code, so keep an eye
All
on the
right,
chat.
yeah. So yeah, put the discount code there. It's gonna be cool. We're gonna run a Kotlin workshop, which I also ran in Paris the other day, and it had a lot of positive feedback. So if you're interested, but also if you cannot come, the code for the workshop is on my GitHub repository, so you can also do it from home if you prefer. Okay, so we have the Slido. I am actually going to open it in a tab in the browser so I can keep an eye on it. Okay, so first of all, Mark, why do you do public speaking?
Should I first explain why I do magic tricks when I do public speaking? As you
That
just
was going to be
alluded
my
to it?
follow-up, but sure.
Okay. Okay, I'll start with the actual question. And it kind of happened a bit by accident that I first did it. I was now this is going to sound like I'm going off at a real tangent, but I was out for the day at a theme park with my father and my 2 nieces, and we were queuing up for a roller coaster. And while we were stood in the queue, I got an email from a very nice gentleman called Lucio Maciel, who at the time lived in Brazil, and it was inviting me to speak at a conference there. I'd never done a conference talk before, and I was given a chance for an all expenses paid trip to Rio de Janeiro. So what's not to like about that? I had no idea what I was doing. I'd been blogging for a couple of years, and it was an Android focus conference, so that they kind of reached out for this was back in 2012, where there weren't that many Android bloggers, there weren't that many Android conferences, and so it was a much smaller pool of available speakers at the time. So I kind of got invited, thought it was too good an offer to turn down, and found I really enjoyed it. So that's how I started doing it. And the reason for the magic tricks is, for those that haven't seen me talk, I always do a magic trick right at the beginning. And it sometimes involves fire and peril. And I don't generally let the conference organizers know that there's going to be fire, because sometimes they might be a bit reluctant to. So
I wonder why.
But my rationale for doing that is, it's sort of a mixture of a bit of fun. I kind of enjoy doing a bit of magic. I like surprising people. It's not something I've ever seen anyone else do. And the other reason I really quite like it is it's a really nice icebreaker. So if you've got an audience expecting a tech talk and they get something completely different to start with, and something that surprises them and entertains them, they like you before you've even started your talk.
Mm-hmm.
And if the audience likes you already, you've already made a connection, and therefore they're much more receptive for what you have to say. It's a little bit of psychology, but it's a really good way to make an immediate connection with the audience before you get into the main subject matter. I mean, they know what you're going to talk about because they've read your the synopsis of your talk. But to get a rapport going before you're getting into that makes the talk a lot easier, in my opinion. It works for me anyway.
Mm-hmm. That is actually a really good point. I feel the way you approach being on stage makes a lot of difference. As like, if you've ever been as part of the audience to a conference, you will know how boring it can be when the speaker is talking in a very monotonous voice and doesn't seem to have any emotion whatsoever. So showing that you're a human, going up with bringing some energy, and I don't mean like developers energy. I mean like midway between the two states.
You don't mean super chat type energy.
Yeah, I never wear red jackets. Oh, Captain Vadim, hello. So it's very cool to, and also sometimes, let's be honest, if you have some slots, like the slot after lunch or the last slot of the day, going on stage with a big presence will also wake up the people that are probably gonna nod off otherwise, which has happened.
Yeah.
Like it does.
A lot of after lunch talk for me as well. So
yeah, it's like
I agree.
Yeah. And then you wonder, was my talk shit? Or were they just very tired? Maybe they've been partying the night before. I don't know. But if you can wake them up, then better. I've also had someone falling asleep midway through a talk, which one might be like, ouch. But then I just decided they were jet lagged. I mean, I happened to know that they were coming from the States, so I was like, they're probably too tired, or I'm boring, but nobody else is sleeping, so it's fine.
Statistically relevant.
Yeah.
There's kind of an interesting story about that, where you're not sure how an audience is taking what you're saying. And it actually was at that first one I did in Rio. And after I've been speaking for a little while, bear in mind it was the first time I'd ever done a conference talk. I was a bit nervous. I had no idea what I was doing. I was winging it, a bit like coming on as a guest on Code with the Italians.
Or being the host.
And then what I realized was I could hear whispering going on, just very, very low, but. And it was beginning to throw me. I thought, well, what's happening? People just not interested. It was a single track conference, so there was no other room they could be in. And I was beginning to feel a bit uneasy. I was beginning to feel, is this not going down very well? Is everyone bored? And one thing that I sort of learned, and I've found over the years where I've been speaking, is I like to try and make eye contact with different people in the audience all the time, and try. It's easy to focus on just people in the front row or something like that, but if you try and make eye contact with different people in the audience and keep shifting it, it can help make the audience feel more engaged, because they feel that you're not just looking at the front row, that that you're making eye contact with them at times and whatever. And so I was doing a bit of that. And what I realized was I could see people. What they were doing, they were leaning into the person next to them. And it suddenly occurred to me they were translating. Because I was presenting an English talk, because I struggle enough to speak English, and to try and do something in Brazilian Portuguese would just be butchery of the highest order. So it would be worse than hearing Alivano.
Wait, don't insult Ivan's Spanish. He's trying.
No.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, I actually I passed the 4 months mark, so I'm very happy. I'm very, very proud.
But then, once I realized what was happening with it, that actually people were translating for people sat next to them that maybe didn't speak English, it suddenly encouraged me, because I thought, oh, if I was that person needing the translation, if the subject matter was boring, I'd just say to the person kind enough to be doing it for me, oh, don't worry, I'm not interested in this. So then I wanted it to carry on. And so it's kind of a lot to process while you're trying to deliver a talk as well. Understand what's going on with an audience, but then work out that it's actually something positive, and and you can respond to that, and you can actually then build off. You can build your own energy from feedback that you're getting from the audience that maybe they don't even realize that they're giving to you. And yeah, that was certainly a lesson I learned very early on.
Does this count as hydrating?
Definitely. I was going to redeem that at some.
I don't know if you can do that if you're on the stream.
I've already redeemed Give Me Spike and an Elivano.
It's fine.
It's
fine. Yeah, you have too many points. It's okay.
I tried to redeem some to name this stream, and I just ran out of time. That it wouldn't let me redeem them at the end of the last one. So maybe we could have a vote in the chat of whether I should be allowed to redeem them to actually name
Hey, this is not a democracy. Remember, this is not a democracy. But I will allow it.
I will tell you the name I had in mind.
Is it Engelbert?
No, I've used that one. I was going to call it Trolly McTrollface.
Okay. Well, it might not be the name of the stream, but we can put it on the thumbnail that we were going to work on after the stream. Does that work?
Exactly. That works for me.
Good.
Right. Cheers.
Cheers to
Cheers,
that.
everybody. So, do we want to pick some questions?
Yes.
Because there are actually
Yes, we have a few questions now. So
So
go,
we
Ivan.
don't have.
Go, Ivan.
No, I mean we have a couple of upvotes. I'm getting from the first one. So first one is how can I start? I guess with the yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, the reason I started doing public speaking was that in 2013, I think I did my first talk. I was working in a company that was making smartwatches, and that is coincidentally how I met Mark in the first place. Um, and we were doing Android smartwatches 2012, 2013, and there was no first party support from Google for smartwatches, whatnot. So we had our own marketplace and we had our own SDK for people to develop apps for the watch. But that wasn't obvious that people would come and develop apps for the watch. So I was running the developer relations, quote unquote, for the company. It was obviously a very small startup with a very, very small developer relations team. It's all on camera. And what I realized at some point was that we should show our product at conferences, and we should get like to have a booth at conferences, to speak to people, to let them know what you can do and why it's interesting to develop an app for smartwatches, because back then it wasn't really in anyone's mind. It was like almost 10 years ago. There were some smartwatches but not very many, and none you could develop apps for. So and with one of the sponsorship packages, I think it was for DroidCon Paris back in the day, we got a possibility to do a sponsored talk. And I had never done a talk before. But I decided that given it was me and a colleague of mine, and my colleague wasn't up to going on stage and speaking, I was like, hell, yeah, I'm going to do it. Fuck it. And yeah, that was pretty much the whole decision process. Like, yeah, well, sure. I mean, we're kind of paying for it. I've never done it, but yeah, it's fine. I can.
As long as they don't have bottles and
Yeah,
tomatoes, everything
exactly.
is
But
fine.
I mean, they were gonna throw me baguettes or something. I could deal with that.
Yeah, fair enough.
And so
A spear, I
yeah.
imagine.
So I created my first slide deck, which I think is probably on my speaker deck account still. But let me check.
With
because
PowerPoint.
I don't know. I don't remember, honestly. I don't remember how I've done those. But yeah, I created these slides, and I was obviously very nervous the first time I got on stage, even though it was, a sponsored talk with relatively low expectations from the speaker. Yes, it's still on my speaker deck. Wow. Let me paste it. So you see, it's so long ago that it's in 4/3. It's not even 16:9 because there wasn't HDMI things. It was just VGA. So yeah, I created this slides. It was a very short slide deck, but after getting there, after getting on stage, and after all the nervousness, the sweat, the oh my god, I'm gonna speak in front of people that I don't know about stuff that, oh dear, what if they know more than I do? And then I realized, and I was particularly lucky having this introduction to this, because, well, at some point I thought, wait, I am 100% guaranteed that I am the person in the room that knows the most about developing apps for smartwatches, because there's probably like 100 people in the world that have done it. So
That was an easy win, by the way.
that was an easy win. But that only saved me that one time. But when I started talking about other things and, going on stage in a conference talking about something about Android UI, and there's a Chet Haas in the audience, you're like, fuck.
This is fine.
Yeah, and you're always, is he gonna do the
Yeah,
Is it gonna raise the eyebrow?
are they gonna get it on camera, right?
Yeah.
And then do the cat.
So I guess I just postponed that moment to a few talks down the line, maybe the next year. But yeah, that was how I started. It was an opportunity that I decided to take, and it wasn't like I had to. We could have also given up on the slot, but I think it's very important if you want to put yourself on a stage that you convince yourself that you know the topic that you're going to be covering, because otherwise you would not be covering. Because if there's one thing that I learned in high school is that something that my maths teacher once said was, if you want to teach something to someone, you need to know it first. Otherwise, you will not be able to teach anything to anyone. And I've kept that in mind the whole time. I keep thinking about this. I cannot go on stage if I don't know the topic. I cannot go on stage or I cannot write about something that I don't know. But just the fact that I am on stage, I mean, you have to consider that the people in front of you are a self-selecting crowd. If you are doing an introductory talk, then the people that come to the talk are, well, your friends, which is always nice to have, but also people that maybe know very little or nothing about the topic and are curious to get started. So you don't need to be the expert that knows everything about every single detail. It's fine not to know something. You just need to remember that you are most likely still the person that knows the most about the topic by the sole virtue of having prepared the talk in the first place. And then if you don't know something, it's also fine to say you don't know. If someone asks a question at the end and you don't know, you're like, I'm not sure. I think it might be this, maybe, if you have any idea. But it's like, I think in this sort of thing, honesty is very important and it gets you a long way. Honesty towards the audience and honesty towards yourself. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add.
Yeah, I can add something. I think, first of all, I should make a point of order. Ivan, you've missed an Italian points. Garima, did give me Spike.
Oh, sorry, because I'm doing so many things. Look at that. It's like a Madame Tussauds kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like a
Spike is
wax
also
figure.
very, very busy.
Man.
Spike's living the dream.
Yeah. Or dreaming the life. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree a lot with what you're saying, Seb. But the other thing is, you don't necessarily need to be an expert in it. If you can offer a different perspective on a given subject, if you've got a different approach to a particular subject, that can be as entertaining as knowing it all. And if you feel you have a story to tell, then that's the first thing to build a talk around. If you can come up with a narrative that works, I always think of any talk has to have a beginning, a middle, and an end, just like any good story. If you just go into and just talk complex stuff for 40 minutes and then just stop dead, that doesn't necessarily make a great talk. You have to kind of build a story there, build a narrative. You start with an introduction explaining what problems we're going to try and solve. You then go through some solutions, and then you summarize how we did it at the end. So, kind of a typical 3-act structure. That's how I always kind of work. But there's another oddity about the way I do my talks. Seb's grinning because he knows exactly what's coming. So I have a slightly different take on doing my slides to a lot of speakers. And I don't claim to have developed this on my own. Many years ago, I saw I think it was the honeycomb Google I/O. Yeah, anyone old enough to remember that probably has lots of wrinkles and grey hairs. Honeycomb was fun. But the honeycomb release, it was Rito Meyer actually gave a talk, and his slide deck was actually an Android app running on a tablet and through the projector, and it even crashed halfway through. And you know, this is the legacy that is Honeycomb. But he'd actually even after the tablet completely boot cycled, got it back up,
Wow.
went back into the app, and it was on the correct slide. He predicted that was likely to happen. And at the time, he always promised at the end, when he explained how he'd put the talk together, he said, "I'm going to open source this." And so when I was actually approached to do my first talk, I thought that really impressed me with how Rito did that. And so I hunted high and low to see if he'd ever open sourced it, and he hadn't. He said he since did, but he hadn't at the time. So I thought, this is still a cool idea, so I'm going to do the same thing, and I wrote my own. And I built in other little features to it, like I could, as a slide came on screen, it could actually send out a tweet. And so as I'm covering certain subjects, I can send out links to either blog posts I've written, blog posts other people have written. And I always say at the beginning, I'm going to be live tweeting during the talk. So if you're following me on Twitter, then you will you get tweets for relevant material. And then at the end of the talk, I usually give before we go to questions, I'm going to answer one up front. Are you going to release the slides? And the answer is no. The reason for that is because there are no slides. There is, and then I go explain that it's an app. It's run on tablets. It's the most recent version runs on a Chromebook because it's a bit more stable, and it has much better HDMI compatibility with projectors, which I've fallen foul of at times. I know that Seb helped me out one time, and Hugo helped me out one time. So that can be fun. So it's now on a device with much better HDMI capabilities. But the end of the you give the reveal that all these animations that I've been showing, or whatever the talk's about, you've seen them rendering on an actual device. These aren't video captures I've made. The actual animations themselves, they are real animations, and the app is open source. So you can go and view the slides, you can view the animations, you can do stuff yourself, and I will post the link into the chat shortly of where you can find the app if you're interested. Hasn't been updated for a while, but I haven't done any talks for a while because this thing called COVID happened. But that's always a nice point in the talk where you give that reveal that this is actually an Android app you're seeing, not a slide deck. And again, that's a point I always enjoy because you usually get a good audience response to that. You will hear people going, "Whoa!" And you'll just see faces.
My reaction was something along the line like "fuck me." I mean, that was like, "What the
You were like,
that was because I didn't know. At that time.
I thought there was only one
haven't
magic
met.
trick.
We haven't met. We haven't met before, so I was like, "What the?" Yeah, it was a good moment. But I want to keep going on this topic because we had a question about the tools. Mark basically just jumped the topic. That was very nice. And I just want to add that I don't do fancy. Sebastiano knows that I'm on the other side of the spectrum. Um, Depending on the platform, I was using Keynote when I had a MacBook. Nowadays, I'm mostly using Google Slides because it's just a clicky. Most of the stuff that I do is either code on screen and presenter notes, or this kind of bullet list. So I don't do fancy stuff. So I don't need very complex tools. Yeah, that's my bit. So I'm just gonna move off the screen and let the fancy people talk about fancy tools.
I mean, we technically use the same tools in the sense that I use Keynote. I guess I use it in a slightly different way. I somehow have decided, oh, some more Ivano. I have somehow decided that I am going to try and take Keynote to its extremes. In the sense that every time I do a talk, I have to put in some weird ass animation that uses like a combination of magic move plus item animations plus transitions plus fakery to make it look good. Because I miss a lot doing animation in After Effects, and that's the closest I can get. And so I am. I'm very happy to say that Magic Move is much more, well, Keynote in general is much more stable than it used to be. But there was a couple of, like 3 or 4 years back, there was a version of Keynote that had a memory leak in Magic Move. So my slides would always crash because I animated way too many things. But to me, like, as I was discussing with some people the other day, my creative process starts with writing an outline. I generally do like a Google Doc. I copy paste the abstract that I've written maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 months before. I copy paste it in the document and I start thinking, okay, what is that I want to talk about? And I start listing things in a bullet list. And then I end up with like this very long bullet list where I have a bunch of like top level sections, and then I drill down more indent with every smaller detail. I never get to the actual stuff that I'm gonna write on the slide or say, but it's gonna tell me pretty much what the slides are gonna be about. I have gotten used to going directly from the outline in a bullet list to Keynote. I used to have an intermediate passage. But before I move to Keynote or the second step, I've always done like a pass on the outline. I share it with folks. I ask for feedback. I asked if there's anything that they think it's missing, anything that they would like me to talk more, or they don't think it's necessary to talk as much about. And with that, then I go through with all the feedback through the outline, and I reorder things. I try to keep, like as Mark was saying, like the story. There has to be a flow. You don't want to jump back and forth, because if you jump back and forth too much, then you get lost, the audience gets lost, and it might be complicated for people that don't know the topic that you're talking about to follow what you're telling them. So you want to try and be as linear as possible. And as a person that loves to do like secondary offshoots where I just go on a tangent on something, then yeah, it's hard, but it's something that I've learned to do over time, because I feel like it makes a huge difference at the end of the day. What I used to do then, after I had the outline, was I got like pen and paper, a notebook, and I would write, like I would create storyboards like you do for movies, because I used to do video making. So that's a tool that I've learned to use, and that for the first few years of making slides, all my slide decks had a storyboard where I had, for every slide, I had like a pen and paper or a pencil draft of it, explaining the animations, explaining the what I'm going to say. So next to that, there's a, I don't know if you've ever seen a storyboard. It's essentially like a 2-column thing where you have a column of frame boxes where you draw whatever you're supposed to be on screen, and then next to it you have a description with actions, with things that people say and stuff like that. So that was my original process. Over time, I started feeling like I didn't really need that. So nowadays, what I do is I go directly into the Keynote file, because as I'm writing the outline, I'm already thinking about how things are going to look. And if at some point I get like an idea that I like, I just say, oh, wait, I'm going to refactor my outline so that I can put that specific thing in. And I am a very visual person, so I often think in terms of visuals that then maps very well to slides. That was a long answer.
I want to add, that was good, thank you. I want to add something that I paste in the chat. We are also getting every link from the chat to the episode notes, so don't worry about that. Something that I found useful, because I have code in my slides, and I was using Carbon, and then Sebastiano pointed out that Carbon generates an image, and that fucks up big time with alt, when accessibility.
Screen readers.
Yeah, so you don't need, we are better than that. So I dropped the images from the slide, and I switched to having real code into the slides. Copy pasting code from IntelliJ to any software was never easy, straightforward for me. I found Roman Nuric has built a tool, slides code highlighter, that helps me a lot to have like a nice snippet in my slide. So I use it all the time, and so that's one tool for the toolkit.
Generally, just copy paste code from the IDE into Keynote, because that works fine. Like, it keeps the highlighting. The only annoying thing is that it also copies the text background, which you have to take off, which is a bit slightly annoying. But it's a one-click thing if you want, so it's fine. Plus, another interesting thing you can do is, I don't know if you can still do it, so I'm just checking now. But there used to be, at least in IntelliJ and in Android Studio, you could tell it when you're copy pasting code which color scheme to use. So you can have Darkula on the IDE, but then you have some light theme in your code, so you can already copy it in the color scheme that you want to have in the destination. So that was very cool. I think it's still there, but I'm not sure.
I need to check.
I'm gonna find it and put the link to the docs if I find it.
Fantastic. Okay, so let's try another question, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
I think the chat's trying to get me drunk.
Yeah, I know this. They keep redeeming hydrate, and but I'm the designated streamer, so I'm sober, so you can get wasted whenever you want. So let's get another question. So 59 here. So I'm doing a few things at the moment, and I'm also getting chapters for YouTube. So okay, so the next question is, do you have a general outline you follow for presentations?
I think we've kind of covered this already, partially. Maybe Mark, well, you've explained.
Anything to add?
Yeah, I think really what I was saying earlier about the kind of the beginning, the middle, of the end, at least explain up front what what we're going to be covering. So explain the problem, explain the solution, then summarize at the end. With me, it's you add a magic trick at the beginning and the big reveal of the app at the end as well. So a bit of theatre thrown in, and Oh,
They're
Fair
really,
enough.
really trying to get us all drunk.
Okay, so I'm gonna mark that as answered, and we can move to the next one if you want. So the next one is from Ilker. He got a couple of upvotes, so not sure if asked before, but how do you cope with the first talk anxiety?
okay, I can tackle that one. So there's no such thing as first talk anxiety. It's every talk anxiety. If you know, it
Sorry.
it never goes away. You're always anxious, particularly if you're giving a talk for the first time. You're never quite sure how it's going to go across. You're nervous about it. But the key is to try and channel that anxiety in a positive way. So, try and feed off the audience, try and get, make eye contact and get feedback. That's why, for me, I don't particularly enjoy speaking at conferences that are in movie theaters, because although they have gorgeous screens for your slides, the audience is in darkness. They've probably brought in a couple of spotlights to shine at you, and that means you can't see the audience, you can't make contact with them, you can't see their reactions. I like to generate a little bit of humor, and in some countries, in some cultures, people laugh at jokes. In other cultures, people will just smile. And if you can't see the audience's faces and you make a joke and you don't hear anything, you're not sure if you're actually falling flat on your face, doing a face plant. So I tend to avoid these days conferences where I can't see the audience. So that's a key thing, is try and make sure you connect with the audience, make eye contact with lots of different people, talk to different people, don't and see their responses, and that will give you confidence that you're doing something right. So that's certainly one thing. Another thing, this is kind of for me personally, is although I didn't do my first public talk until about 10 years ago, before that I'd played music live, never professionally or anything like that, but I'd sung and played guitar in bands, and actually doing something like that for a long time. I actually did open mic nights just with me and an acoustic guitar, and that's the scariest thing ever, because if you fuck up, you can't blame anyone else. There's only you. If you're with a band, you can say, well, actually it was him, and
blame it on the drummer.
Yeah, exactly.
It was going too fast.
But in all seriousness, doing stuff like that can give you confidence about getting up and standing up in front of people and performing in some way.
I want to tell again. Something that I unfortunately I already said this. My first talk, it was Droidcon Berlin a few years ago, when I published my first book. Okay, and they wanted me to go around and start talking at conferences. I never done that, and Berlin was the first DroidCon, my first conference in English. And as you maybe you guessed, I'm not a native speaker, so English is not my first language, not even my second or third language. Anyway, I was nervous, and you can see the video is on YouTube. I was very nervous at the beginning because I was the last talk of the conference. It was like the whole conference was there. I was closing the conference, and I was nervous because the room was full, and then they started adding chairs because people were standing, and from a security point of view, you could not stand in front of. So I was getting very nervous.
About the
But then
security.
safety measures. I got the ball rolling after a while because I don't know, maybe from a character point of view, I overcame the discomfort. But I always from that moment I started advocating for something that I heard in a podcast by Tim Ferriss, where they were suggesting something called micro bravery. And the way they described it was like you prepare a slide deck, and then you go to your team, you get the team in a room, and you have a quick presentation. You gather the feedback, and you fix the slides, you fix your speaking, and then you try with the whole engineering mobile team, whatever, right? You get a bigger audience, and then you iterate again on the slides, and then you go to a local meetup, and then you get feedback and you iterate. So you have this larger and larger safe spaces, because that's important, right? You need to be in a safe space for people, and then eventually you get confident enough that you apply to a conference. And at that point, as Sebastiano said, you know the shit because you rehearsed, you smooth out the edges because you iterated a lot on the slides. So if keynote crashes on you, you don't freak out. So that kind of stuff helped me a lot, and um, I always advocate for this kind of approach because yes, I was able to do it. Not everybody is able to do it, and most of the time you don't need that. Okay, you don't need that kind of trauma. I will, I because there are easier ways to do that, and I'm too afraid of people getting scared and stopping having talks and giving public talks. Then I'm not for the like a rough way of starting. You can start uh, quietly, and it's gonna get better and better.
Also,
It
remember,
will never stop.
yeah, remember your first talk is not going to be great. The second one is
Yeah,
going to be okay. The third one is going to be good. And
yeah.
from then onwards, the more you do it, the more you get used to it. It helps. Like, it's true that the anxiety, like the stress of going on stage is never going to go completely away. But at least for me, the more I talk at conferences, the more it just it's less intense, first of all, and second of all, I got to the point where I can be anxious up to the point where the time starts. When the timer starts and I have my 45 minutes, whatever it is, then I don't have any anxiety anymore. The second I start talking, I'm like, okay, we're ready. I'm on stage. There's no way out. I have to finish this. Let's go. And then I do it. And I realized that it's something that I started doing also for the Twitch at some point as well, which is when we start a stream, I do the same thing that I've used to do on stage for a while, which is like, hello. It's like, be like, put yourself out there and just be loud, and like it's kind of like cheering yourself as well. It's like getting yourself. You might be tired. You probably are tired. You might be unsure whether your slides are good enough. You might be unsure whether something is missing, whether you're gonna be good enough. It doesn't matter. At that point, you're there. You're giving the best. You do all you can, and you make it as good as you can. And then you can be happy with it. You can also not be happy with it. and this is something that is very interesting because it happened the other day. I gave a talk at Android Makers. Well, I had 4 sessions, but I gave one talk in particular that I finished doing it. Like I finished preparing it a bit late because I was having a very, very incredibly busy week the week before. So I finished it last minute. I had very little time to test it, and it turned out being like I fucked up the timing. So I was planning this amount of stuff. When I was going through it, it seemed like about the right amount of stuff, but it was my first time doing live coding on stage, so I didn't really have a frame of reference. And I was doing the first few slides. I was like, well, plenty of time. I'm doing this rate of like a slide every couple of minutes. That's fine. I have plenty of time to talk about all the things that I wanted. And at some point, I got to the point in the talk where it was taking me so much time to go through all the things that I wanted to go through that I realized that, oh fuck, I need to hurry up. I am going to be late. I'm going to finish over time. So I started going very quickly. In the last few slides, I apologize to anyone that has watched or will be watching the talk. To me, like I got off stage where I finished on the clock, like 1 minute late, skipping the last slide pretty much, but it wasn't too important. And I put it last because I knew that I could go long and I could skip it if needed. And I got off stage and I was like, I'm not very happy about this, how it went. I am like, it's something that happened to me in the past at the beginning, but now when I have slides, I know how much time it takes. I am pretty good with that. But these days, like with the new way of presenting the slides, I really did the timing wrong. And then I was really surprised because all the people that I met around, they were stopping me saying, "Oh, it was very cool. I learned a lot of things." And then there's an in the app for the conference, there's a way to do anonymous feedback, and the feedback was very positive. And I was like, the disconnect between my perception of how it went and the value that people got out of it was still like people enjoyed it, and I'm very happy about it. I'm still sad that it didn't go as well as I planned it to go because I had so many other things that I wanted to do. I wanted to show things in practice, but I didn't have time to do that. So I just want to say, even if you are scared, even if you think things have gone wrong, it's not necessary. And it might also go the other way around, where you think you've done the best talk ever and nobody cares. That also happened to me, but it's fine. And the way I see it, it's sort of like a craft. You need to do it, and you need to get it wrong to get it right. So, like I used to fuck up the timing all the time with slides, and I don't do it anymore most of the time. I am sure that if I keep doing live coding sessions, at some point, I will not fuck up the timing anymore. But if I just do the one, then I do another one in, I don't know, 5 years, then I'm probably going to fuck up the timing in the next one as well.
A skill.
Yeah.
It's a skill.
Yeah.
A skill that you need to train. I completely see you, because rehearsal for me is crucial when I prepare a talk. I go through timing. I time myself. Yeah, but with live coding, I never done it. This is the Code with Italians is the first experiment where I code live-ish. I mean, you code, but you get the point. So it gets me very, very nervous as well. So I can definitely relate.
Well,
Do you want another question?
Code with the Italians is my first experience of live trolling.
Nice.
Seb codes, I troll.
But you're a natural, Mark.
Yeah. These people, right? Okay, let's get another question, shall we?
Yeah, I think the top two are kind of the same. So
yeah. Okay, let's get one. So how do you know if a topic is good enough to talk about?
I would say, do you feel you have a story to tell? If you feel that you've got subject matter, and it's it's not just about conference speaking as well. It's about blog posts. I wrote a blog for a very long time. There were times that there was one particular time where I was really, really struggling to get a blog post for the following Friday, and in the end, I wrote about something that I thought everyone would know about, because it was announced at Google I/O the previous year. But I had various pots on the simmer that I couldn't quite get right, and I had kind of a 2-hour window to write something, and it was about you could put in basically resources for just to use in your previews. I forget even what they're called now. I've not used them for a while with Compose around. But you could put basically some images and things like that in, so that it would populate a list view for you, just in the preview within Android Studio. And I literally threw that post together in a couple of hours and thought, well, at least I've got something for this week. And it was one of the best received posts I've done. I assumed people knew it because it was announced at I/O, but a lot of people had missed it, and people were, I never knew that existed. I got so much feedback of something that I thought was almost a throwaway. So never assume that just because you know something, someone else doesn't. So find something that you think you can talk about and try and build a talk around that. Something that you feel passionate about, something that you feel confident about. Find your area and build that into a talk. That would be the best approach for me.
Yeah, I was actually talking about the how to choose a topic with Effie Barak yesterday in Paris, because she gave a talk about giving talks, and it was very interesting because one thing we were talking about is that she was saying, try to find something original, because if it's something that it hasn't been covered too much, then it's going to be easier to get like your talk accepted. It's going to be easier to get an audience that is interested in learning something new. And one thing that I was saying is like, absolutely, but that doesn't mean that you can only talk about niche things and specific stuff. Like, there's value in doing introductory talks as well, as long as you have something to say that hasn't been said before. Nobody cares about someone rehashing the documentation, or at least, well, in an ideal world, nobody cares about someone regurgitating documentation. But the way I see it is, I don't mind talking about something that to me is like table stakes to do our job, because I know that, first of all, there's people that have just started doing this job, and they might be interested in learning what I consider the basics, because, I mean, it's fair. They just started. Maybe there's people that have been doing this job for a while, but for whatever reason, they haven't really ever covered that. And so as long as you can bring something, as long as you bring some value to the audience, and that is my main metric for pitching talks as well. It's like, can I talk about something about a topic that people will care about? And an example is when you consider, for example, I'm going to be doing a talk about Compose at DroidCon San Francisco in June, and everyone and their dog have been talking about Compose, including us on this stream. But the reason why I submitted a talk about Compose is that I saw an angle that wasn't really covered as much. Coincidentally, there was a talk at Android Makers yesterday that I didn't get to see because I was on stage for something else at the same time. But the idea was, if I look up what I want to talk about on the internet, is there any resource out there that covers it the way that I want to cover it, that is at the level of quality that I want to provide to people that spend the time trying to learn something from me? And if the answer is no, then I go with that. And obviously, it might happen that from the moment you pitch talk to the moment you are on stage, someone else has done it, because it can happen. But I still find that everyone's experience is unique. So you can bring your own spice to a specific topic. Even if two talks are about the same thing, they're going to go at it in slightly different ways, as long as they're not just, again, just rehashing documentation, but talking about a story, talking about what you've learned, talking about like what you can say, what you can share to make everyone else's life easier if they ever happen to go down that path.
Yeah, I agree totally. I mean, again, coming back to, it's a similar thing to writing blog posts. There's no point in writing a blog post if all you're doing is you're rehashing the Google documentation. And that is something that I used to see a fair bit. People would just effectively just take the Google documentation and slightly
Rephrase it.
reword it. Yeah, rephrase it, and then post that as original content, which I just couldn't see the point of doing. To look at where you can add value, look at where you can add your own experience, look at where you can add your own insight, and present something in a different way to people, then they will find it more engaging than if they've read the same content elsewhere. And that's true with a conference talk. If you can present something in your own way rather than just rehashing what's all out there, then that's going to make a much more compelling talk.
Yes.
Thanks.
I would add maybe one last thing on the topic. And as I was saying this phrase, I forgot it. So please go ahead. It's the beer. I blame the beer.
Fantastic. Just to reiterate on what Mark said about blog posting, I do a lot of tiny blog posts about, I found a plugin for IntelliJ, and I type it down, right? I take a couple of screenshots. I do mostly for myself, just to put something out there for you. But I don't mind if it's like a tiny thing, like a simple thing, because it's my thing. So why bother, right? You're doing it for yourself, to help other. If I manage to help one person with some plugin for IntelliJ, why even bother? So thank you for the gifts, thank you for the love. Let's get another question, because I think the next one is something that I want to talk about. So any tips for presenting advanced topics? How do you provide a proper disclaimer or make sure you don't alienate anyone in the audience who might be unfamiliar?
You said you had something to say, so go for it.
No, I just need to do the chapters first, so I need to buy some time. Come on, man! I'm doing too many things.
Okay, I can say something on that. So the obvious thing is some conferences will have tags on talks to say whether they're beginner, intermediate, or advanced topics. If they don't, in your synopsis, make sure you say that. Get in your synopsis, give an impression who the target audience is. And if there's any requisite knowledge, if you've got a vague title like graphics on Android, but a prerequisite for understanding your talk is going to be, OpenGL, then maybe put in your synopsis, if you don't know OpenGL, this talk might not be for you. That's kind of the really blunt force way of doing things, but you can do that a bit more subtly. But just make sure that the published synopsis of your talk makes it clear what your target audience is. So that's kind of one way. And a second way is maybe structure your talk to try and introduce concepts as you go and tell a narrative. So introduce some basic concepts and then slowly build and build and build. I've done a few talks on animations over the years, and I love animated vector drawables. I love animating stuff, and for animated vectors, you can slowly build concepts, and then you can show towards the end of the talk, once you've got how to rotate something, how to change color of something, how to move something, you can then combine those, and then those various elements, once you put them all together, they can create something that is greater than the sum of the parts. And so you can show how by combining relatively simple concepts, you can build something that looks a lot more complex than it really is. So again, structure your talk in a way that you can make it more accessible at the beginning, and you build concepts as you go.
I will add a counterpoint to that, which is sometimes you cannot do that if you want to get to, like if your talk is about some very specific and advanced topic, you have to assume that your audience knows about the basics that they need. Obviously, you need to be reasonable. Like if you are the only person on earth that has ever done things in a certain way, at least that you know of, you should expect your audience to not know what you're going to be talking about. So you should give them some introduction to the ideas and concepts that they need to follow along. That said, I am going to again use the example of the Compose talk that I'm going to be doing in DrawingCon San Francisco, which is it's a topic about Compose theming without using the material theme. And I have to give for granted that people know what material is. I will probably briefly cover what composition locals are, because that's going to come up. But that's something that I would still assume that most people in the audience that come should probably know about already, at least as an idea. And I am not going to be covering the very basics of how theming works, how the material theme works, like all that stuff. I'm going to skip. And the point is, I will, it's not because I don't want to, it's because I have 40 minutes, maybe maximum, and I need to cover a lot of things. And it's just, there's no possibility for that. I'm more than happy to explain things to people if they ask questions at the end that they maybe add the basics to understand. But you also can remember that the more you go towards the basic level of concepts, it's easier to find documentation and talks and blog posts and articles that people can read or videos that they can watch. So some things you can leave as an exercise for the reader. And again, this comes back to what Mark was saying, which is very important that your abstract makes it clear that this is not an introductory talk. This is going to give some things for granted.
Yeah, and you could do something a bit more subtle than I was doing with my, if you don't know this, then go off.
Did you really?
But for that kind of talk, you could just say, about material theming in Compose, but don't know how to create your own design system. Then here's how. This will teach you how. So you can set expectations, and you're kind of saying, here's prerequisite knowledge. And you're doing it in a more subtle way than just a straight, you have to understand this before you attend. you can do it in a more you know explanatory way that kind of sets the expectations without just being straight. Don't come if you don't know this.
Yeah, you don't want to scare people away. Ivan, what were you going to say?
Well, well, so I like weird topics, and lately they are not even Android topics, right? I mean, if you think about my last few talks, or like most of them, because I always, I mean, if you think about that, I never gave like a very Android specific topic. So, but I always did that at DroidCons. Most of the time was DroidCons. So it was always weird for me to understand what the audience, where the audience was, right? So because we are talking about something that is a bit generic. They come to an Android conference. Is it gonna work? You never know. But what I always try to do, even with topics that are definitely unfamiliar for a lot of people at the beginning, RX Java was like new. I mean, people were looking at me like, "What the fuck is this thing?" I mean, we are happy with loaders and async tasks.
Oh
So
boy.
yeah, sure. I mean, still be you weren't there, man. You weren't there. Like the youngsters nowadays. Oh, coroutines are shit. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Bear with me for a second. Anyway, uh things like arrow or domain modeling, I always try to approach it in a garden path way. It's something that they told me when I was writing books. My editor described me this approach to, like a garden path. You have the stones that you follow in the garden, and then you go through the garden, and then you reach the flowers that you want to see. But you went through a lot of flowers before, right? And for me, that was very crucial when I was introducing arrow, because if I give you either right in the face, that's not going to work, right? I need to present you with alternatives and things that actually you have at hand, pain points, and then you can build up on familiar concept, like a null type. Everybody that knows Kotlin knows about null, but then you build on that kind of knowledge to create a talk that is a bit advanced, but it's I mean, it can be processed by a broader audience than just. I mean, if you're doing something about Vulkan, and yeah, I'm not gonna show up, right? Because I'm not the target. But if you're doing an introduction about Vulkan, I still don't know anything about that Vulkan. Is it called Vulkan? I don't even know if it's called Vulkan or whatever it is. The graphic thing, is it called Vulkan,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Anyway, but that's my approach. So I try to explain things in a processable way, even if they are complex, because as Sebastiano said, at some point you do the heavy lifting, you learn the topic, and then you try to get the outer layers, the weird stuff away, so you can present it to like in a more like easy way to process. That's what I like. I don't usually do very hard stuff, and that's probably one of my bias. I don't do shaders and that kind of animation that Marx does, or typography. I remember at some point Sebastian, you did something about typography, and I was like, what the fuck? I'm in here because I love you, but what the fuck is this thing? I mean, I'm like, nodding in first row. Yeah, like, yeah, sure.
We're all here
Definitely.
to learn, right?
Damn it. But yeah, I try to do basic stuff or advanced stuff presented in a way that somebody with not a lot of knowledge needs to have, to enjoy the talk. Even because that thing can be a trampoline to then go out and study the stuff by themselves, right? Because everybody learns at different pace. So that's also something that I always try to do, like give you like curiosity instead of bare knowledge, right? I'm passing you more like, oh, I want to understand how this thing works instead
Yeah.
of, oh, here it is, right?
I mean, the bare knowledge is going to disappear 10 minutes after the talk is done. So what you need to go for is to try and get people interested. And then when they start playing with whatever you were talking about, then they're like, you're right, I remember they were talking about this. And that is that way because that other thing. So to me, that's the real value of a talk, is to get me interested in something, teaching me stuff if I already know the topic, but getting me interested in learning new topics is also very valuable to me. So I don't know if you who's doing what.
No, Ilker is trying is really mean with the arrow stuff.
So we have two questions, one of which is, I think, someone trying to hire Mark.
So let's go with the other one. Let's start with the other one. I don't know. Let's put the LinkedIn stuff at the end. So question is, sometimes an interesting topic can't fill the timeline for a full talk, 45 minutes, for instance. Can this talk still be given? Well, if you're Sebastiano, yes, you go over time and fuck it. But let's be. So the way I understand the question, it may be that you feel that 45 minutes is not enough to give you the information that you want to give out, and should I try to shrink the talk, or should I give up? So what's going on?
Sorry. I couldn't resist.
What's he doing?
Nothing. Go ahead. You'll find out later, don't worry.
Oh, fuck me.
I know what he's doing.
Oh, man. Oh, you are the worst. I mean, okay, so that's. Oh man. Okay.
So trolling me.
Yeah, had to happen at some point. It had to happen.
Trolling everybody. I can't even remember the fucking question. Okay, so the question is still legit. So if you have a lot of stuff to do and you don't have enough time, should you try to do something, give up, or do you have a strategy to shrink a topic? Sebastiano, live coding, I mean.
Yeah.
No. This is a serious question. What are you gonna do on the next iteration now that you know that the time was not enough or the speed was not enough? What's your strategy here?
So, before I answer that, I want to remind everyone that there's shorter talks as well. So you can do like a lightning talk for like a small topic that works. There's conferences that have like 15 to 20 minute slots, and that's a very great opportunity to present smaller topics that don't fill 45 minutes. That said, for the next time I do live coding, which is going to be, I don't know when, I already have a plan. So my plan is that I realized I went too wide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to refocus my content to a narrower section. And because it was a talk about how to use the idea in a more productive way, I wanted it to be less of like a list of shortcuts and features and things, because that's boring, and also you will forget them after 10 seconds. So the original idea for the talk was, I'm going to cover all these things, and then I have this badly written piece of code that I am going to refactor live using the things that I've just talked about. And the next time I give this talk, if anyone wants to get this talk, is going to be more focused on just the refactoring part. So I have maybe 2 or 3 slides total, and then the rest is in practice how to use all the refactoring tools that you have in the IDE to turn something from horrible to kind of okay. I mean, the base code is still bad, but at least it reads nice. So yeah, that's my goal. But that's kind of the other problem, right? It's the problem here is how to fluff up your content to fill 45 minutes. My recommendation is go for shorter slots instead. Don't spend 10 minutes talking about nothing.
I actually misunderstood the question, so thank you, Sebastian,
No
for
worries.
pointing out that I was completely wrong.
I'm gonna go over Hugo just because I know you and I know now. Yeah, try not to go over time. Or you can go over time 1 minute, because if you're like me, you don't know how to read the timer and at some point it's going up instead of down. That should tell you you're over time, but you don't realize it on stage. And yeah, definitely need more prep. That's 100% sure.
Mark,
Also, we're over
anything
time.
Yeah, I'm dreadful for going over time. No matter how much I practice, when I'm actually doing it in front of an audience, I find different things to say and add extra things, and so I always try and plan for my talk to be about 10 minutes less than I think I need, because then I'm likely to fit it in. And I always think when I'm sort of doing the kind of the broad storyboarding, you know, just the broad sections that I want to cover, I always think I need more. And then when I start fleshing it out, I find there's actually more than enough. So it's, for me, everyone's going to be different. Some people, I think I've seen people do talks that have finished much earlier than they thought they were going to.
yeah,
that
was
happens.
awkward.
I think that's as much nerves as anything, that you just want to get through it. You're worried about, you may be nervous. But definitely for me, because I can bullshit for England, I tend to waffle on when I'm actually presenting in front of a real audience. I try and at least do one run through for work colleagues before I give a talk for the first time, because that gives you a much better feeling for timing, or it does for me at least. You can practice in front of a mirror or just working on a script or whatever, and it doesn't give you accurate timings in my experience. It's only when you actually present it to a real audience you get a feel for the timing.
Life hack: if you are shorter than you would expect, if your talk is super short, you can always do Q&A at the end. It's a kind of smart way of savage talk that could go very bad. So just a pointer right there. But I agree with Mark. Rehearsal and yeah, I use recording myself a lot, especially now that there is COVID and stuff. But at some point you get the gist of the time. Plus, you can always add more content, and the more you study for the slides, the more content you have. I always have the opposite problem, like, you know, and I could fill up probably 2 hours, and that's why a lot of and that's why my struggle with the new series for pet projects fundamentals, that we are releasing shorter videos, you know, like 10 minutes kinda ish, for our supporters. For me, it's brutal, because, you know, keeping it short, it's very difficult for me, and so there is always a lot of content on my side. But that's a nice opportunity to turn maybe your talk into a workshop, right? You never know, like a couple of hours workshop. Those are new opportunities. So we have a couple of questions for Mark. People are concerned about your health, and if you are still for freelancing. So
I think people are concerned about Mark's water well. Mark,
Yes.
do you have a water well? You're muted, I'm afraid. Your well was
Yes,
dry.
indeed.
It does actually remind me of a favourite poem by Spike Milligan, which I've got to hydrate first.
I'm out of beer. Hydration
Which
is
is-
complete.
We need to wrap up. I mean, Sebastian is
Yeah.
getting thirsty.
So it's only
He's getting sober.
Yeah, well,
it's only a very short poem, but it's Dr. Odell fell down a well and broke his collarbone. But doctors should attend the sick and leave the well alone.
that's wow. Do we have a reference for this? Because I want to add it to the speaker notes, the episode notes.
That's Spike Milligan. So we've got a second Spike on the channel this week.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
come
it's
on.
time to wrap up because I am out of beer and there's not enough Italian points that can divine further beer into this bottle. So that's kind of a problem. So we are going to do, as usual, if you're a subscriber, if you have access to our Discord, you will briefly see a link to Google Meet where we are going to gather to make the clickbaity thumbnail, which is very, very fun to do. We always laugh a lot when doing that. And generally speaking, it's also a great way to interact with our guests when they join, because they mostly join. And it's always good to be able to, say hi, ask questions, and you have that 15, 20 minutes of time to get to know them a bit better, which is always nice. That said, hello, welcome. We have a raid as we wrap up. It's good we are over time. Yay!
Hey.
I also love that it's the name is non-compila, which means doesn't compile. So on topic.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Welcome,
Oh.
welcome, people. So Sebastiano, do we want to do the giveaway?
Yes.
How do we want to do it? Because
Um,
you decided how to do it, so now you run the show. So,
Well,
what
I
do
don't
we
have
do?
the list of people, do I?
I can run the. So we have a. So do you want to do it with
So
Nightbot?
I would
as usual?
say, let me see if because I opened Nightbot, so maybe I can see who joined. No, I cannot. Can you run it until you get someone that is a subscriber? Can you check?
Yeah, sure. Wait.
Just
I can.
get
I can.
two
So
subs.
I can run. I can run it only for subscribers if you want.
Yeah, so run one only for subs.
Well, I'm taking myself off the list.
That's a good idea. Did you write that?
Well, huh?
You know you can get it. You don't need to get the.
I know. But the bot is stupid. I don't know what to do. Okay, rolling. Yeah.
Oh!
Okay. Nice. So
Wow.
okay, so now
So the bot listens to complaints.
What did he win?
So he won the stickers and he won a t-shirt. We'll get in touch for the details because I don't remember how we said with the folks that we're gonna
I
do
have
this.
no idea.
but
So
yeah, we're gonna figure it out.
Ilker stickers.
We are
okay.
totally very
You-
well prepared for this, as you can tell.
Few t-shirt. Okay, very, very, very digital. Anyway,
Roll it
so
again.
what do we
Roll
do
it again.
next?
2 subs. Roll it
For
again.
subscribers.
Yeah.
So subscribers, boom, roll it again.
Adam. Woo!
Boom.
Now, Adam, you have to wear it on stream.
Nice.
Cross promotion.
Stickers plus t-shirt for Adam. T-shirts. Okay. And
then
what else?
Run it for people that aren't subscribers if you can.
Okay, let's see. Well, so users that they're not subscribers.
If it works, otherwise just pick one at
I don't know. I
random.
mean, Mark is in the not subscribers. I don't buy it. I mean, he's. I guess. Let's see. I'm rolling it.
Let's
Brace.
see.
But that's
Whoa.
weird because okay.
Hello,
well,
Adam.
whatever.
Welcome back.
Hi.
Oh, the person with the nick I couldn't read. No, Adam, you've won.
Congratulations.
You have won. I don't know.
Congratulations. I'm gonna just take the name and
We're gonna get in touch after the
Yes.
stream or tomorrow, depending how much Ivan needs to run to take care of the kid.
yes.
That's usually the metric.
Yeah, that's well, I mean, it's a challenging life. So what else, Sebastiano? What else?
I think we're done. Do we want to give away
Let's
just some stickers to someone, maybe?
Yeah, let's do
Let's
some
be
stickers.
generous.
Yeah, why not? I mean, okay. So
That's what
see if I
Beers
can
does to
find-
me. I get very generous.
Yeah, regular subscribers, mod. No, mod probably we don't need.
I mean,
Well,
it's
no,
only
but-
us being mods, so I guess it doesn't matter.
Oh, but that's cool because he remembers who won already. Okay, that's not bad.
It's a smart
Bravo,
bot.
Nightbot. Bravo, Nightbot. No, take me outside. because
Ilkar,
I'm
you've
not
won
eligible.
already. Shut up.
Shh, I'm happy.
The bot knows
Okay,
you've
let's-
won already. You're not getting double stickers.
Fabio, you got the stickers. So, congratulations.
Congrats.
Fabio.
Yay. Thank you, everyone. It's been a fantastic year. If you asked me a year ago, I would have never thought that I would still be doing this a year in, but I'm glad I am because it's super fun and I'm learning a lot of things. And also I get to talk with very interesting people and with you folks as well in the chat. And thank you. Seriously, it's so nice. It's so nice. And I love you all, and I'll get you stickers whenever I see you because you're all splendid people. Thank you.
I want to thank you all, and I want to remind you that we have big plans. So stick with us. Check the website. Check the shop, and we are releasing new stickers. We are releasing new swag, and now that we reached the goal for the new store and the new swag, we will set another goal. And well, you can suggest on Twitter if you want something special from us that you can you want to see that needs money so we can use the money that we get from the donations. Just give us a shout, and we will see. And yeah, thank you, Mark, for being with us, for being like a so popular and so trolling guest. Yeah, it's fun.
Always a pleasure.
And now
Beautiful people.
it's been a pleasure. It's time for thumbnails. Thumbnails. Oh, wow. Chat is exploding. Woo! Super chat!
Super chat.
Oh, dear. I need a red blouse, and I'm not going to say what else.
Bessimo. Ciao.
Bye.